Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, the representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and for the invitation to welcome you all here today. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. My family descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our best chance of survival in this new world could be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Maria, into the Native Institution, a school set up by Governor Macquarie in 1815, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them and it became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here this morning. And with good reason. Your progress is our progress. Your advancement is our advancement. Now that was probably better understood in traditional times when camp groups were smaller and clans abided by the strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you caught and brought back was shared and distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the rest of the community. And you, of course, were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we do it right. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly did in many respects, and I would recommend them to yourselves as a model or a benchmark on how good to expect our lives today. See, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 200 years ago, he described the people he encountered there as one of the happiest people he had met in the world. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They made shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the land without tilling the earth. In traditional times, everyone was accorded rights to the country or clan area that he or she was born into. So there was no homelessness and no rich and poor either. Everyone had roughly the same amount of gear, what you could carry. There were no armies or jails or even police. We have no history of slavery or empire building. People cooperated to collect the resources that were needed and they were then shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state with rivers clean and unpolluted to be able to have people drinking out of them here for the past 20,000 years. Now, this is not an ideal, this was normal life. And there is no reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. Admittedly, there's a whole bunch of us now, another million or two. So we've got to be extra clever. But I would say expect great things from your lives and do great things. Share your skills with the rest of us and together we can get a future and a country that is worthy of our children. And one we can be proud of again. So we can all do our bit. I'll do mine by winding up now and letting you good people graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you. Yano.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan AO.
Well, Chris Tobin, thank you for your welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I see and hear that we also have a couple of tiny tots with us this morning, and that's great. Please don't feel obliged if your child makes a noise or starts to cry. Don't feel obliged to go outside. We're quite happy to hear the sound of a baby crying. We all used to do that. And in fact, we've all heard a lot worse. I mean, I used to be in Parliament for 25 years, so I can put up with the sound of a crying baby. And in any event, we discovered a long time ago that if a baby cries throughout a graduation ceremony, they're back within 25 years to take out a PhD. So it's a very good omen. Well, it's my very great privilege as Chancellor of Macquarie University to preside at this important ceremony today. First, I welcome all of our graduands, and I hope that this will be a very happy and a very memorable occasion for all of you. But it will only be so if you enjoy the day and relax. Some of you look relaxed and happy, but some of you look as though you're going into the exam room rather than collecting a degree. So please just enjoy the day. Nothing can go wrong. You have all passed your exams. The very worst thing that can happen is that when you come up here to be presented, your mortarboard might fall off, in which case we pick it up, or you might fall over, although I think today I might be the one who falls over. So please don't worry. In fact, that's why we have all these people here. They're here to pick you up when you do fall over. You deserve to take pride, great pride in your graduation, because completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind. You need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. Today I also want to welcome, and especially welcome, those of you who are sitting on that side or behind our graduands, because if you, as their invited guests, because if you think about it for a moment or two, you've all obviously done very well as well. The very fact that you're here, the fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. So mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, cousins, sons and daughters, grandmothers and grandfathers, friends, husbands and wives, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, or whatever you are, congratulations and thank you for celebrating this great occasion with us. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role, because I have another important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they will soon become. I want you to make sure that the degrees they receive today are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their own success, you make sure that you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, of course, Macquarie is not one of those. We are comparatively young. In fact, this year we celebrate our 50th Jubilee. In those 50 years, though, we've come a long way. We now have graduates living in more than 140 countries, and sometime this week, or perhaps early next week, we'll be graduating our 150,000th graduate. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We're regarded as one of Australia's leading research universities and are continuing to progress by extending our research, our course offerings and our facilities. We're always trying to engage with the world around us. We've forged strong alliances with the community and with industry and are keen to establish more. On your way here this morning, you may have seen the relatively new, it's only a couple of years old, Macquarie University Hospital, which is used by the students and professional and academic staff in our School of Advanced Medicine. Of course, the primary purpose of a hospital is to treat sick people, and this is what our hospital does. and it does so very well, I can tell you. It really does provide excellent care. I know from first-hand experience because I was a patient there for 3 days towards the end of last year, and the care is absolutely first-rate, particularly if you're the Chancellor. So I can recommend it to you. You may also have seen our new library, which provides a 21st learning and research environment, and I think is the envy of almost every university in the land. Or our new Advanced Hearing Hub, which is a world's leading institute dedicated to advances in hearing, speech and language sciences. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Thank you.
Chancellor, I call on Mr Nathan Williams Seal, who is graduating today with a Bachelor of Advanced Science and has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Mr Seal.
Chancellor, members of the university, fellow graduates and guests. I want to thank everyone for the honour of speaking here today at this graduation ceremony. Today is the day we graduate. It is a day to celebrate our achievements with friends and family. It is a day to dress up in funny-looking clothes. It is a day when we will receive a fancy-looking piece of paper. In a literal sense, this piece of paper is just part of a dead tree that has been pulverised and transformed to make something that is a relatively worthless, thin, mostly white object with some other colours painted on it. In another sense, this piece of paper represents a remarkable invention that allows an easy way to store and transfer large amounts of information and ideas between people without the need of heavy rocks and chisels. As graduates, we will now have the opportunity to continue in this tradition of ingenuity and invention to solve some of the hard problems of our time, although in many ways we have upgraded to even more efficient means to transfer information and ideas via electronics and the internet. In a final sense, and the reason why it is of such value to us, this piece of paper represents our experiences and success at Macquarie University. Lectures and classes we attended, knowledge we have learned, assignments we spent all night finishing the night before they were due, the friends we have made, and the exams we crammed for at the last minute. So I want to congratulate my fellow students. We did it. We have made it to the end of one stage of our education. Some of us will continue on to more formal education at higher levels. Some of us will enter new stages of our lives, be that full-time work or whatever else we choose to invest our time in. I want to remind us all, however, that education is not just what we have done in formal institutions such as university, but it is the ability to think, to learn, and to solve problems that we face in life. Education is not something that ends once we finish formal education. Rather, it will continue for the rest of our lives. I want to thank Macquarie University for not only assisting us in learning information, but also giving us the opportunity to grow in our ability to understand and be productive at whatever we put our minds to. Now I want to thank all the people who have helped us in our success. Firstly, to the academics, lecturers, and tutors who taught us and helped us to understand the content and complexities of our various courses. I want to thank our friends and family for supporting us and believing in us during our studies. I want to thank my fellow students who I have journeyed with together and collaborated with along the way. And finally, to thank Macquarie University, which has provided the environment and space for all of this to happen within. To finish my speech today, I want to give you a comment and a challenge. My comment is this: the world today is a complex place with many complex problems with non-obvious solutions. a few of which include climate change, war, inequality, diseases, and human rights. Macquarie University has given us the ability to create change in the way these problems are addressed in the future. So now I challenge you, how will you respond to the big problems of the world? Will you ignore them, or will you strive for change using your area of expertise to develop new solutions? Thank you.
Well done, Nathan. That was an excellent speech, and I hope all of your fellow graduands take up that challenge. And congratulations on your Bachelor of Advanced Science, and also congratulations on the Vice-Chancellor's commendation for academic excellence. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the key part of the ceremony, the reason that we're all here today, and that's the conferring of degrees. But before I do that, I have to make sure that all of the candidates today are actually qualified to receive their degrees, because I am assured by the best legal brains in the country that if I confer a degree on someone who's not eligible to receive it, there's nothing I can do to take it back. So before I confer the degrees, I need an ironclad assurance from our Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Dee Anderson, that all of our graduands never missed a class, were never late in submitting an assignment, and are otherwise eligible today. Deputy Vice-Chancellor.
Chancellor, I certify that all the candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees and diplomas they are to be awarded. May I ask all candidates for admission to degrees and diplomas, please stand.
Graduands, in the name of Macquarie University Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees and diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Science. This faculty teaches courses and conducts research about people and our physical environment. It is the home to a number of internationally recognised research centres. It has close links with industry and continues to build firm future partnerships both locally and internationally with leading companies. The faculty includes research and study areas in biological sciences, chemistry, biomolecular sciences, chiropractic, computing, earth and planetary sciences, environment, geography, mathematics, physics, astronomy, engineering and statistics. Chancellor, I now call on Professor Peter Nelson, Acting Executive Dean of the Faculty of Science, to present the graduates. Professor Nelson.
Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Science whom you have admitted to degrees. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Christopher Facer for a thesis entitled Quantum Master Equations, Classical Noise, Coarse Graining and Heat Exchange. Dr. Kerway Claire Shu Gawore for a thesis entitled Novel Positioning Algorithms and Node Configuration Optimization for Non-GPS Wireless Systems. Dr. Ayobami Ba Tun D. E.G. for a thesis entitled Analog RF Front-End IC Design for Ultra-Wideband Implantable Wireless Body Area Network Radio. Dr. Ramtin Kazemi. Dr. Mohammed Shahidul Islam for a thesis entitled Implantable Antennas for Medical Wireless Telemetry Systems Operating in the 900 MHz ISM band. Dr. Ramtin Kazemi Baydokti for a thesis entitled Power Control in Wireless Body Area Networks for Interference Mitigation. Dr. Andrew Thomas Lampert, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for a thesis entitled Making Email Actionable, the Identification and Use of Obligation Acts in Workplace Email. Dr. Braddon Kingsley Lance for a thesis entitled Template-Based Modelling of Protein Structure. Dr. Varun Kamaraswamy Aniya Chetty Srinivasan for a thesis entitled Fluorescent Nanoparticles, a probe to study the molecular trafficking of somatostatin. Dr. Maximilian Rudolph A. Wittmann for a thesis entitled Understanding Computer Graphics Student Problem Solving through Source Code Analysis. Dr. Wong Siemeng for a thesis entitled Native Language Identification Incorporating Syntactic Knowledge. Dr. Jing Xu for a thesis entitled Cox Proportional Hazard Model Estimation under Dependent Censoring by Maximum Penalised Likelihood. Chancellor, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Applied Statistics. Maria Virginia Benitez de Mandelberger. Ling Chern. Shu Er Fei Sheng. Hao Feng. Robert Johnson. Hearn Yung Lee. Chi Wai Lo, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Gavin William Wyndon Marsh. Rickman Sim. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Information Technology. Henry Go. Nicholas Zeel Lanfranga. Nam Hyun Lee. Kaylee Marie Rumbelow. Senthil Kumar Shengma Raj. Surendra Kumar Shop U Shrestha. Gabor Varga, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Ivana Hatan To Wong Sodi Hajo, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. I present the diplomat awarded the Graduate Diploma of Information Technology, Brian Daniel Villanueva. I present the recipient of the University Medal for Mathematics, Audrey Jeanette Markowski, who was admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Arts with First Class Honours in 2013. I present the graduate admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Science with First Class Honours and the University Medal for Mathematics, Daniel Dominic Chagliaro. I present graduates admitted to the honours degree of Bachelor of Science with First Class Honours, Kelly Louise Davis. Catherine Wendy Radford. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with First Class Honours, Mitchell Gulliver. Muhammad Kalim Munawa Kodabahachi. Pierce Matthew Rickson. Jeffrey Henry Vera. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with honours, Angus Gregory Donovan. Fahad Haider. Nishant Membata. Alexander John Stewart. Petar Vasilievich. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts with the Bachelor of Science, Erin Jennifer Horwood. Samantha Jane Mason. Ellen Stern. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts Psychology with the Bachelor of Health, Ellen Therese Hawkins Thomas. Sybil Hazar. Patrick Marnie. Lucy Alexandra Zoe Belton. Belinda Ziegler. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Advanced Science. Daniel Blay. Nathan William Seal, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Anika Jane van Lierop. Ashley Melissa Bachman. Charles Robert Walker. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of E-Business. Hirabad Rupin Bohisiam. Brock David Butler. Shun Hei Chu. Marlon Brian Wee. Alexander Muromtsev. Hussein Musa. Matthew John Neville. Lisa Usa. Shien Yong Chiu. Nicholas Suteja. Aaron Tamasian. Roy Tarabina. Andrew Joe. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Environment, Aaron Holt Leonard. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Health, Danielle Briones. Melanie Kate Cross. Rachel Brianni Mason. Thomas Reynolds. Alexandra Rogers. Freya Sach, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Molly Sinclair. Taryn Somerville. Brittany Voss. Georgina Young. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Information Technology, Nazrin Akhtar. Helen Browett. Michael Downing. Laurel Eagles. Zinez Rosenda Gonzalez. Stephen Gosby. Mohsen Hokmadi. Blair Hudson. Sutavud Ith. Brian Izadfa. Saha Javidvan. Christoph Karov. Mustafa Kohistani Atai. Hoho Lam. King Man Clement Lam. Sin Shan Lee. Li Fan Leo. Eric Mare. Benjamin Alvaro Masahud. Mark Edward Mulligan. Keegan Naidu. Heaton Narula. Jerome Ray Ocampo. Shihan Pan. Salman Paracha. Peter Stewart Reeves. Nicholas Albert Reynolds. Joseph T. Ibrahim Suti. Mark Schmidt. Yoshiya Tanaka. Paul Dao Dwevu. Men Ying Wang. Sai Xiu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Medical Sciences. Sabina Madhushani Dawega Alius Katria Rachiga Donna. Emily Siu Yin Gibson. Carly Patrice Jobson. Bianca Kirsten Carl. Connor Francis Underwood. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science. Alex Francesco Barbara. Michelle Karina Brainwood. Elizabeth Doris Camilleri. Riya Chowdhury. Amy Pia Cohen. Brennan Ian Jew. Mitchell Jess Dowling. Bryce John Duggan. Belinda Kate Fabian. Andrew Gregory Ferris. Natalie Formosa. Gail Frez. Dipanka Goyal. Eli Yagya Gulasarian. Sophie Ruth Harrison. Zoe Asta Harrison. Bronte Nanette Hoban. Cindy Dawi Koo. Raymond Lam. Jonathan Peter Manley. Zachariah Masters. Gemma Nauri Patrick Mattison. Dominic May. Ashley Forbes McDonald. James Peter McMahon. Shanta Cassandra Nair. Jocelyn Norman. Ashley Pickering. Marcello Daniel Porcu. Elie Rahi. Thomas Andrew Reichart. Sarah Jane Merle Reed Anderson. Sinead Robinson Cast. Timia Aina Rosenfeld. Vanessa Ruth Santos Vargas. Adam Oliver Sharp. Danielle Louise Silla. Shane Tilakaratne. This one? Thank you. John Chio Kemp Yusai. Abigail Francis Wood. Chancellor, that completes this morning's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Science.
Well, that wasn't too bad, was it? That beautiful voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer, and she really does just get better and better and better. And I might say you're very lucky that she was singing today, because on the occasions that Angela can't come to a graduation ceremony, I do the singing. Would you like to hear Angela sing just a little bit more? Okay, it's very simple. What you do is enrol in another degree, and when you come back, I promise you she'll be singing at your next graduation. I think she deserves another great round of applause. As do our other great musicians over there, our organist Dr. James Forsyth, and our trumpeter Melanie McLaughlin. And also deserving of our thanks are our alumni volunteers who come along to make sure that the graduation ceremonies go smoothly, and most of them are sitting over there, and I think we might have a couple over there as well. I think they deserve a round of applause. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as part of this graduation ceremony, we honour a member of staff from the Faculty of Science who has made an outstanding contribution to student learning at Macquarie University. I now call upon Professor Peter Nelson, the Acting Executive Dean of the Faculty of Science, to read the citation. Professor Nelson.
Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to invite Miss Carolyn Kennett to come forward. Miss Carolyn Kennett is a 2013 winner of the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Teaching Excellence. Miss Carolyn Kennett is synonymous with the Numeracy Centre, where for 15 years she has supported students with maths anxiety to learn and gain confidence in their ability to learn, where she has developed and shared with colleagues resources, both paper-based and online, and where she is now exploring the use of tablet technology as alternate methods of lecture delivery. Miss Kennett is deeply committed to improving mathematics education at the tertiary level. She is passionate about actively engaging students in their learning and has designed her learning activities to promote critical thinking skills. As Director of the Numeracy Centre, Carolyn has developed the Centre into the outstanding example in Australia of a campus-wide quantitative skills support service. The Numeracy Centre is unique in the Australian university sector for the scope of its services and the quality of its support. Chancellor, I present to you a truly worthy recipient of a Vice-Chancellor's Award for Teaching Excellence, Miss Carolyn Kennett from the Numeracy Centre and the Department of Mathematics, Faculty of Science.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my great pleasure to introduce our occasional speaker, Mr. David Bull. David's career goes from scientific research right through to successful commercialisation of various technical products, from medical diagnostics to clean tech. He served on the boards of a number of public and private companies, as well as various advisory boards for educational institutions and venture companies. With over 24 years' experience in product development, he brings a lateral approach to product innovation and strategy. He's also the co-author on 15 refereed technical publications and signatory on 11 patents. David was once a member of staff here at Macquarie University. He started as a technician. He took out 2 degrees from Macquarie, and he tells me he is contemplating commencing a PhD here at Macquarie, so that it'd be very good to see him back again. But David is now the CEO of BCS International, designing and building innovative solutions for the medical, scientific, environmental and mining sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. David Bull.
Thank you, Chancellor, and also members of the faculty of staff, distinguished guests and graduates. Most of all, I'd like to thank the various friends and family members, many of whom are seated here, for supporting the various candidates for degree and now graduates. For the various meals and cups of coffee that were offered while swatting for exams. In particular, I'd like to thank my family, Jan, James and Kate, for their support in loaning their father and husband to the rigours of undertaking 2 degrees here at Macquarie University. Back in 1986, I joined the staff at Macquarie University. In fact, was located just, see those windows through there? So I used to, twice a year, see various processions for graduation. It sort of used to spur me on whilst I was undertaking my bachelor's degree here. During that time, I worked with various academics in teaching and also in research, developing all sorts of lab equipment and novel technologies. I found that really put me in good stead to get into the business that eventually started. In this environment, I learnt from great entrepreneurs like my old boss, Professor David Skellen, who started wireless networking company Radiata from this campus, and later that company was sold for $570 million to Cisco. So there's certainly money in technology. The legacy that that technology, which was started here at the Macquarie University in conjunction with CSIRO, has led to the adoption of various standards which are now used in the Wi-Fi networks that we all log on to when we're in cafes and at our home networks and so forth. So that, something to be proud of, that particularly for you graduates, there's a great history here in all sorts of technology which has an impact on people's day-to-day life. We, apart from that, I know in other areas of sciences, there was companies such as Proteome Systems, another company, Fluorotechnics, were floated on the Australian Stock Exchange from the biology department here by Duncan Veal and Keith Williams, respectively. These companies making giant leaps into the burgeoning field of biotechnology. Apart from a great deal of direct subject matter expertise and particular characteristics that I appreciated at Macquarie was the multidisciplinary collegiality, and that they often say that disruptive innovation occurs at the boundaries of various disciplines, and for this to work effectively, I believe that it needs to be a collegiate environment where various departments of science and the arts and so forth and medicine are able to work together, and it's on those boundaries that you get amazing innovation. I used to, on a Friday afternoon, I used to go for drinks over with the biologist, because as an engineering type, I sort of felt I needed to learn a little bit from what they had to teach, and just sitting around with a little bit of social lubricant, found there was a lot I could learn from the biologist, and in fact it put me in good stead to be involved in developing a number of biotechnology products that we have at BCS. Apart from graduating, after graduating from my bachelor's degree in 1994, I was offered positions at ResMed, which was ResCare at the time, another entrepreneurial startup, Smart Silicon Systems, and cancer detection device company Polytechnics. After deciding to work for Polytechnics and contributing to various patents and cancer detection, I resigned and started my product realisation company, BCS. We have developed a number of innovative products, including medical in the various fields, medical, scientific and telecommunications and clean tech industries. BCS has been the recipient of various industry awards, including the Australian Design Award of the Year back in 2003. People often ask me how I managed to get to start such an unusual and innovative company, and my answer always is I just continued the activities that I learned here at Macquarie University. I know that a lot of you out there are sort of thinking about your job and thinking about your career in the future, and I know there's a large number of Australian companies that are downsizing. Hardly a day goes past that we don't hear about major banks or auto manufacturers laying off staff or the likes of Qantas. Despite these reports, our design business has been going through a major upturn in business activities over the last year, and which I believe indicates a pending increase in technical product development. I've often said that BCS is a forward-looking business. That is, companies generally will spend on research and development if they foresee an imminent boom, and I believe there is one to come. On one fact that we should not forget, that Australia is built on small to medium-sized enterprise. The Australian Bureau of Statistics says that the average size of an Australian business has 5 employees. If you take the top 50 companies out, then that drops down to 3.5 employees. So with over 1 million Australian businesses, a small improvement in sentiment can easily compensate for some of these downturn in multinational employment. I attended the farewell seminar for Macquarie's Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research, Jim Piper, June last year. One of Macquarie University's alumni got up and spoke, who was founder of a venture capital company, Southern Cross Ventures. Larry Marshall, Dr. Larry Marshall, got his PhD here when I was doing my bachelor's degree. He said something that struck a chord with me. He said, Australian universities are good at producing great employees, but not always good at producing great entrepreneurs. One of the areas of being a great employee, can I make a few tips? Having employed, I guess, ultimately hundreds of people over the years. As you go out into the workforce, and these are things that you may not have heard your lecturers talk about, but can I suggest that whenever you're in a meeting, and particularly if the boss is present, try to avoid sending texts or surfing Facebook. I know some of these behaviours have been tolerated in the past at university, but they probably won't be in your workplace. So a little bit of word of advice. And generally, if you want to work out a way to go forward, I think with your career, a good attitude is probably the most important attraction for promotion. Your education doesn't stop here, of course. A great professional never stops learning. As the Chancellor said, I'm actually continuing, will be later on this year, starting a PhD. Despite the great enabling technologies and clever staff, I think the most important person in a business is its customer, and you may not have always heard that here, but without customers, there is no business, and it's something we've always told our employees. So it's really important that there are people taking risks, there are people paying money for product development, whether those be investors, maybe mums and dads in small ASX listed companies, or whether there are other venture capital companies. There's always someone taking a risk, there's someone who's punting, and there's customers who want to buy. Suggestions for entrepreneurs. As I said earlier, Australia is built on small business. We are a country of entrepreneurs. Be prepared to take calculated risks if you want to move into running your own business. Those risks should be calculated, but there's no large reward without a reasonable amount of risk. And remember, no one ever got rich being an employee. So you can secure yourself a great job, but you're never going to have Bill Gates' wealth if you decide that you're going to take the safer road. So I know the vast majority of people have to be employees, it's just the nature of things, but based on that, those Bureau of Statistics statements of 5 people in the average size company, that's one boss, I guess, for 4 people. I think it's important, despite to give back to your university. I've maintained a constant relationship with Macquarie University since my days here. Despite long work hours, and as you can imagine, I work 50 to 60-hour weeks a lot of the time, and busy family and social life. I always spend time to give back to the university. I'm currently adjunct here in the engineering department in the Australian School of Advanced Medicine. Serve as a chairman on the engineering and wireless advisory committees. I'm an alumni member, and I think it's important that you continue your relationship with Macquarie University, because it's a network which can be beneficial for you. It's certainly been beneficial for me, and there's some great stories, and I've only told you a few of them, of entrepreneurial activity here at Macquarie University. Apart from that, I've supervised PhD students. Shahidul is one of my graduates here, and it was great to see him receive his PhD award today. Your journey with Macquarie doesn't need to finish here, and as I say, get involved with the alumni program. It's a great program. In my time at Macquarie, I've learnt about wireless systems, protein separation, signal processing, automated control, laser systems, pheromone communications between insects. This gave me an incredible grounding to work in a number of fields. I learnt many valuable lessons and skills which have enabled me to develop technologies and will help in an area of a huge number of people. It's helped in men's and women's health, in creating a cleaner environment and producing wealth for Australia. Now it's over to you, Macquarie graduates. Go out to all the world, develop great technologies, make a difference, and make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and graduates, I'm sure you'll agree there was some very, very worthwhile advice there. I was also interested in some of David's references to some of the research that's been done here at Macquarie University in our first 50 years, because very often we don't highlight it, we don't tell people about it. I wonder how many people, for example, understand the very important role that Macquarie University played in the development of Wi-Fi. There'd be very few people, but it's a very, very important achievement of Macquarie University. Now, I've got to admit, sometimes I'm not sure whether I think the development of Wi-Fi was good or bad, but I think that's probably because I'm just a cranky old man. But I think most people would attest that it's actually a very great development. Well, David, thank you very much for what you do for Macquarie University. Good luck with your PhD. I commend you on it, and we've been very fortunate today to have you as such an important part of our graduation ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in thanking David once again. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it's certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you are part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of 150,000 Macquarie alumni spanning the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support, and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please, graduates, do make sure that you come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study, to attend alumni events, perhaps use our aquatic and fitness facilities, or even, if the mood takes you, to enjoy a picnic down by our lake. Well, now, graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges. But like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either, because almost everything you do, in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities, matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society, through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or a kind gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned not only for your own benefit, but also for the betterment of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you've enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Now, graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who have helped you along the way, many of whom, of course, are here with you today. So to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a few things. Graduates, will you now please stand? Now I want you to put your degrees on the seats behind you so that your hands are free, and I'd like you to turn around to face your family and friends. And now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Well, graduates, you can turn around now. You can pick up your degrees, but don't sit down because we'll be leaving in just a moment. By the way, I think also the representatives of our academic community up here who've also helped you along the way deserve a great round of applause too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now leave the graduation hall through the centre aisle and will be followed by the graduates. I would invite you all to now please stand. And please remain standing until the last of the graduates have processed out. And then I hope you'll all join us in the marquee overlooking the lake for some light refreshments. Well, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future. And in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Graduates, good luck.